Hello, this is Perttu from Apocalyptica. We are your crazy Finnish cello rockers since '96, old band. You are listening and watching to the Lagros Radio.
Yes. First, can you explain the title of the album?
Sure. Apocalyptica's 8th studio album, Shadowmaker, it was very interesting process for all of us as we toured with the previous one, the 7th Symphony, for 2 years. And that moment we felt that we first time in our career we need a little longer break just to really refresh our minds and feel free from a band for a moment, because with every album and always throughout our career we have wanted to somehow refresh and reload ourselves. And for us making music, it always feels like exploring something new. And we felt after 7th Symphony that we have to take a little break to be able to still find a new level for the band. And after the break we came with full energy. We did a couple of orchestra cooperation, stuff like this, little side projects. So when we came to the real recording cycle that we started to move forwards the 8th album, we felt that now is a time to really make a band record, like nothing disturbing, and we wanted to concentrate for only ourselves and as Apocalyptica. And that's why we, for example, realized that we have to involve an own vocalist, and that we didn't want to go with the same method, like adding tons of different guests, because it's for ourselves, it's a wonderful thing. We are very fortunate that we have been able working with coolest persons in the entire business. But for ourselves, it was somehow the focus was out of the actual band. And that's why we wanted to really involve Franky. We found him throughout very, very long, auditions. We made everything in hidden, just asking for potential vocalists who would be able to do the album. But it was most important for us that he can also do all the tours with us. So we found Franky. We made the songs. We rehearsed better than ever. We were very, very prepared for the album. One of the first tracks that we had ready was Shadowmaker, which was kind of an interesting vocal song, which actually included kind of a 4-minute thrash metal song inside it, and that was the most determining track for about the new material. So we ended up even naming the album after that song. And I think this is very interesting Apocalyptica album, as it is sounding so clear and every little detail is so clarified, because since the very, very long time we were able to really prepare well as a solid unit and a group for it.
Yeah, but as for the title itself, what is the meaning of the title?
The title Shadowmaker song basically tells about, of course, in every human relation there may be some person who is influencing you without that you don't have your own will, and basically Shadowmaker means that. But the entire album and the feel about what we are now flirting with the music, it's somehow telling a story about this faceless persons you are, who influence your life without you actually would like them to do it, whether them being politicians or governments, or just some forces that you human and your own will you can't resist.
Okay. Yeah. So how did you choose Franky for the record? How did it happen?
We sent out the word for key persons in the music business. We wanted to make everything hidden, not searching openly a vocalist for Apocalyptica, but we got tons of suggestions then from different record companies and managers and agents. And we went through a big bunch of persons where we of course calculated, we found the most potential ones, and them we asked to start the recording. And that took couple of months to go through all the material. We wanted them to record a couple of our old tracks. Then we still were ranking some out of that, and but in the final end we had like 5 of the most potential ones, which we asked to record the material for new album as a demos. Yeah, several songs, but Franky's sound from the very beginning it felt like the most familiar and somehow like the most pleasant, and he's also so versatile vocalist that he was able to sing basically however, whatever style. And besides him being an amazingly nice human being, which was also important for us, that we need to share our tour bus with someone, you know, basically all the time. So it's a delicate thing.
So can you tell us a bit more about the writing process of Shadowmaker?
Yeah. We started to write the songs basically a little bit over a year ago already. And this was by far the longest period that we ever prepared for an album. Like we composed the songs for half a year, then we still practiced and arranged the tracks, let's say 3 months in a rehearsal room. And we went to do a proper pre-production, like for 10 days with the producer Nick Raskulinecz into Nashville, because he said that, hey, yeah, I definitely want to do the album, but we have to do it right, and we make it right. If you come here, we first practice together, arrange, everything is clear, and then you go still for 1 month to practice at your home, and only then we start the final recordings. And so when it came to the point that we started the final recordings, this was the first time that for every single guy, basically every single note was clear beforehand, what we want to do and how we want to do. And also amazing thing was that now we had the singer involved who was able to participate into the rehearsing. So of course the influence of jamming with the vocalist that affected lots to the songs still.
Yeah, so Frank, at what stage Franky entered in the process?
Yeah, we had the main song structures ready and most of the lyrics even, but when Franky was able to really hop in to feel his influence for even still changing and tweaking the lyrics to be cool enough, and I wrote the song, the final track for the album. Actually, that was supposed to be an instrumental, but when we realized that Franky has so fragile, cool voice, we wanted to add the vocals even to that one. So therefore, we made lyrics together with him. So he was like a real band member for the last couple of months for the process.
Okay. So you mentioned also your Wagner Reloaded project.
Yeah.
Do you think it changed your perspective on writing this new album?
Yeah, actually, I think the Wagner thing had a big influence for us, because when we realized that the latest thing that we released was a full-on like instrumental CD from the live show, we were not so scared about, like, for example, amount of the vocal tracks for the new album. The funny thing is that I think there is now 7 vocal tracks and basically 4 instrumental tracks, but the instrumental tracks are so epic and long actually that the album is half and half basically. There is over 30 minutes of instrumental music, and I think this combination also that we have now Franky, it's a funny fact that it's not, for ourselves, it's not a disturbing element to have vocals, but actually the one guy telling story, it somehow gives even more space for the cellos in there. So therefore, I just think that the Shadowmaker is our first real, like, compact album, band album after Cult, actually. Because Cult was kind of a similar thing, that we didn't have record company, or actually we left from a Finnish record company because we didn't want to continue in making covers. So Cult was kind of a rebellious album for us. And this reminded those times, because we didn't have a record label while we started to work with it. So we were totally free from any, like, outside pressure. We just wanted to make music for ourselves, and involved Franky and Nick, the producers, and there were 6 kids fooling around with music, and we didn't need to follow anybody's else's opinions or suggestions. That was pleasant.
Yeah, so as you said, there are like four quite long instrumental tracks. Throughout your career, you had mostly quite short songs. What is interesting in a long song format, according to you?
It mainly comes from the fact that we had many vocal tracks already in a picture. So we realized that whenever we come to the instrumental moment, we don't want to leave that feel like too quickly. So therefore, for example, Till Death Do Us Part is a great example of the songs that I made it basically 1 year ago to be, I felt that it could be an intro for the whole album. But when we involved Nick there and started to realize the rest of the material, it felt that this song has to develop much more. It has to be like the biggest epic song that we have made so far. And it's funny that this 2-minute idea actually turned out to be nearly 8 minutes track in the final end with lots of variation and different kind of feel. But I love in those songs that once you reach certain mood, sometimes it's very nice to hold on for the mood for a while. And I think that probably when we were younger, we were too eager to jump all the time from, from thing to another. But I definitely, of course, my favorite moments are those epic instrumentals in this album as well.
Yes, don't you fear that, with these long instrumental songs, since it's the first time in your career, the listeners will be kind of disturbed? You didn't care?
Actually, I think we cannot think such a things while doing, because I think in this group we have always tried to follow kind of sound of our own hearts. That I have a strong belief that if I love something, I cannot be the only guy on earth who digs the same things. So therefore, I think it's a very good guideline that if we do such a music that we love, we find always people who loves the similar kind of things. But yeah, for example, in the epic instrumentals, we definitely didn't think that is there anyone who bears to listen to this. I think actually it's a good thing if everyone has one song in there that they dislike, because that's a kind of Apocalyptica. I'm sure that we make music that not all the stuff, everybody would even like. That there is many metal kids who don't like our classical moments, and I'm sure that there's a lot of classical listeners that like our beautiful songs but just hate the aggressive ones. So Apocalyptica should be that everybody gets something. But still, I think there is a big potential in this album that most of our listeners will like the material, because somehow it feels that it's so clear, it sounds amazing. The quality of the product is totally like top class at the moment. And funny thing is that, of course, one of the, I think, coolest mixers on metal scene, Greg Fidelman, we were able to get him to mix this album. When I first time heard his mixes, I didn't believe that it's our band. It's like, it can't be. I know that our roots, we come from small country, Finland. We play this kind of a weird instrument and we sound like fucking Metallica, Whoa, it can't be true.
Yeah, and going away from the album, you surprised your audience by doing a score for Angry Birds.
Yeah.
So the video game, it's rather unusual for a metal band. Can you explain how it happened, and would you do it again?
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, Angry Birds is one of the biggest things ever what happened in Finnish entertainment business, and actually the biggest. So they sold so amazing lots of games. They asked us to perform the new title track, and we were, of course, honored. Like, of course, we support this thing. They are cool guys and wonderful games. So, and also I think it shows the kind of attitude what we have inside Apocalyptica, that nothing is so serious, not even heavy metal, that you can't laugh for yourself. And that's what we think when making. Even we were very serious with the Shadowmaker recording, and also when it comes to the promo pictures or artwork, we wanted to concentrate and make kind of an album that people would kind of think that what is the Shadowmaker? Is it me? Where is it? And what is the Shadowmaker in my life? We wanted to create kind of a serious vibes, but otherwise we are just fools, you know. Stupid guys from Finland having fun, and Angry Birds and that video and everything related to it. It's a good example.
I was wondering, what are the albums? So it's 2015 now. What are the albums that really kicked your ass last year, or maybe from this year?
My favorite highlight from last year was War Eternal of Arch Enemy. They being my favorite band for many years already, and I just love that kind of. I have this weird perversion for Swedish metal, because my favorite bands, they come from Sweden, and of course I shouldn't even say such a thing as I'm from Finland, and we always struggle about who is better in ice hockey or who has the better bands. But yeah, I love Swedish metal, and now it was actually very nice that I got to see their gig also in the 70 Tons of Metal cruise when we were like just 10 days ago in Miami in a big boat, and yeah.
And for the gigs, what, Arch Enemy also? Or?
Yeah, Arch Enemy. Arch Enemy and Amon Amarth are at the moment my kind of favorite bands. Slipknot coming nicely in a third place.
Okay. So yeah.
But yeah, I loved the new Slipknot record as well. We will listen to it lots in autumn during recordings.
Mm-hmm. So do you think the adventure with Franky will last, or will you go with something different for the next album?
At the moment, we have not even started to think about the next step, but this feels now so good. Franky is fitting perfectly to our group. His vocals and his live performance is incredible, so we are just like proud and happy that we can bring such a guy in front of our audience, and then we just see, you know, where it all leads. And but I would be happy to make even the next album with him, because this just feels so great that now we are like a real band. We have regular meetings, we rehearse, and basically it would be just so natural to aim already for the next project.
Hey there, this is Andy from Halloween, and we are on La Grosse. Yeah, it feels a bit strange. I mean, it's number 14 or 15, however you look at it.